On the eve of the wedding, Julia's childhood friend posted a status wearing my suit, with his arm around Julia's shoulders. He wrote, "Having the happiness of being with Julia, let me experience it one last time." I commented, "How about I call off the engagement? Otherwise, you can only wear that suit for one day." The next second, the post was deleted. He sighed theatrically and said to Julia, "Tomorrow you'll belong to another man." I was just feeling a bit sentimental. "I didn't expect your husband, Hector, to get angry." Julia immediately changed her WeChat background to a cheek-to-cheek photo of the two of them. She called me. "He grew up with me." To him, "I'm like a little sister." What's wrong with an older brother being reluctant to let go of his sister? If you keep being passive-aggressive and jealous for no reason, then don't marry me. I wasn't jealous. I genuinely wanted to call off the engagement. Chapter 1. When Julia came back, I had already finished writing the handwritten notes informing our relatives and friends that the wedding was cancelled. "You wrote these?" She casually picked one up to skim it, smiling carelessly. I answered lightly, No wonder they're so ugly." She chuckled. I paused. The first time I wrote her a love letter, after being captivated by her graceful figure at the racetrack, she teased me the same way. I was sad for a long time. I practiced like crazy, regular script, running script, everything, yet she would always brush it off with a single, airy sentence. "It's fine. Even if your handwriting is ugly, I still love you." It wasn't until her friends saw my handwritten notes and exclaimed at how impressive they were that she pulled out a barely legible scrawl and tossed it at them. "Have you never seen truly good handwriting?" Later I found out that ugly scrawl was Logan's. I didn't reply. I just kept packing up my things. When she got no response, she laughed and leaned in, hugging my waist and acting cute. All right, I'll stop. I brought you a gift." A pair of boots was pushed over. I glanced at them, opened the shoe cabinet drawer, and took out an identical pair, already peeling and worn. "Thanks, but I already have them." Julia froze for a moment. Then her expression turned ugly. They were the gift she had given me on our 1-year anniversary. Chapter 2. I don't like wearing boots, but because they were from her. Back then I still put them on to meet her friends. When Logan, who had just returned to the country, saw them, he let out a snort of laughter. "My God, is he an old man or what? The boots are already flaking, haha." I didn't know how to respond when Julia laughed and punched his chest lightly. "Stop it. Not everyone looks good in everything like you do." Logan laughed as he rubbed her hair. "Isn't it because you picked the style for me?" Knowing that all of Logan's clothes were chosen by Julia, I had my first real fight with her. She rarely lost her temper, but this time she snapped. "I grew up with him. If I really wanted something with him, would there even be a place for you? If you're going to be this dramatic, then don't date at all." That argument ended with me begging her not to break up. Those boots, symbols of my humiliation, were sealed away by me after that. Yet Julia, as if she remembered none of it, bought another identical pair. She seemed to feel a bit guilty and stepped forward to hug me. "I'm sorry, babe. I've been really busy lately and grabbed the wrong style. I'll buy you a new pair right away. Pick whatever you want. I want you to know, this time I truly want to marry you." I didn't say anything. This was already the third time we were preparing for a wedding. The first time, during the engagement, Logan snatched my wedding ring and put it on himself. I forced him to give it back, and Julia said I couldn't take a joke. The wedding was cancelled. The second time, when the priest asked Julia if she was willing, Logan jokingly shouted no before she could answer. I publicly humiliated him until he left the venue. Julia immediately took off her veil and said she wasn't getting married. She said, "Whether I get married or not, he's still my brother. If my groom makes him feel wronged, I'd rather stay single for life." "Julia, things don't happen more than 3 times," I said calmly. Her arm, which was wrapped around mine, stiffened slightly. She seemed about to explode again, but when she looked up, she met my cold, detached gaze. For a moment, she froze too. "Hector, I know you're angry about the suit." Her usually careless eyes turned serious for once. "I'll order you a new one." Ignoring my attempts to stop her, she picked up her phone and announced in the group chat that my suit had an issue and the wedding would be postponed. "Julia, don't do this." I frowned and tried to stop her, but she had already sent the message. She grabbed the hand I reached out with and forcefully dragged me toward the door. "Come on, let's pick a suit for my husband." "Julia, let go." I frowned, but she just smiled, dragging me all the way downstairs and stuffing me into the passenger seat. I was about to get out when I saw a photo of Logan stuck on the dashboard. The handwriting looked exactly like Julia's. "Logan GE's exclusive seat. No trespassers." A hand reached over and tore the sticker off in one motion. Logan thought it was funny and stuck it there. "If you don't like it, I'll rip it off." She really did throw the sticker away, but her tone was unhurried, completely nonchalant. She was always like this. Whenever Logan crossed a line, she would deal with it promptly, but always thought it was no big deal. Then, when I finally blew up, she would get impatient. "It's such a small thing. Do you really have to make a fuss?" "Oh, it's fine. You didn't need to tear it off." As soon as I said that, Julia glanced at me, disbelief flashing in her eyes. After all, in situations like this, I always demanded an explanation. She let out a light laugh and turned the steering wheel. I know you're mad. It's okay, your wife will pick the most handsome suit for you. This time, we'll properly get married. This time. But we weren't getting married anymore, I said flatly. Julia, you don't have to do this. She froze for a second, then reached over and lightly hit me, not taking it seriously at all. Annoying. Don't say stupid things. Chapter 3. 3 weddings in. This was the first time Julia had ever accompanied me to choose a suit. As she proactively explained her requirements to the sales associate, I interrupted her. I'm not here to make a suit. I'd like to ask about returns. The associate froze. But this lady said you were getting married. Julia hurried to cut in. He means the previous measurements weren't right. I didn't know if it was just my imagination, but I caught a trace of barely concealed panic in her movements. She turned to look at me, as if anxiously seeking confirmation. Right, honey. The associate also looked at me. So you'd like to adjust the size, sir? The size. I thought of Logan's post, the one where he was wearing a suit, and looked back at the associate. About the suit, could we talk privately? When the associate and I went into the room, Julia seemed to visibly relax. Thinking of getting it custom made, she asked. I nodded. The associate smiled. Looks like this gentleman wants to give you a surprise. She laughed and lightly punched my chest. I'll wait for you. I pushed her hand away and closed the door, but when I came out, she wasn't waiting outside. When I found her, she was on the phone in the car. Seeing me, she waved for me to get in. I had just gotten into the car when Logan's voice came through. Why do I hear a car door? It's your brother-in-law, Julia said. I came along with him to pick out a new suit. There was silence on the other end. Logan, Julia asked. Julia, my car broke down. I saw Julia's hands tighten abruptly around the steering wheel. Julia, the car suddenly stalled, and the doors are locked. I can't get out. Just as Julia was about to say something, I spoke. Take me home first. Julia froze. I turned to look at her. I won't stop you from going to him, but you were the one who brought me out. You should take me home before you go. Julia. Logan's voice on the phone started to tremble. I directly took the phone from her hand. Logan, even if the car breaks down, you can turn on the lights. There's an emergency hammer inside. Those can smash the window. It only takes a few minutes from here to my place. If you really can't handle it, you could. Hector. Julia snatched the phone back, staring at me in disbelief. You know Logan has claustrophobia. What do you mean? Making him wait there alone while I take you home? Didn't I already buy you a new suit? What kind of ridiculous jealousy are you having at a time like this? I'm not jealous. I stayed calm. There's no way to get a cab here. There are no streetlights. And 2 months ago there was a knife robbery in this area. It's very inconvenient for me to go back alone. Julia. The voice on the phone turned into outright sobbing. Come quickly. Julia's breathing became uneven. She flung open my side of the car door, unbuckled my seatbelt with a sharp click, and shoved me hard. You're becoming more and more unreasonable. Get out and calm yourself down. The car sped off in front of me. When we left, she hadn't given me a chance to change clothes. All I had on was a coat for warmth. In the dead of winter, the wind cut through me, and I couldn't help but shiver. Chapter 4. In the end, it was my buddy who drove all the way out to that pitch-black alley with no streetlights to pick me up. Didn't a murder happen around here not long ago? He cursed angrily while driving. She just left you here like that. I told him to calm down while wrapping myself in the blanket he'd brought me, then sneezed. I opened my phone. Logan had updated his moments. He was also wrapped in a blanket, his arm around Julia, who looked like she had fallen asleep. Thank you, my dear. You'll always be the one standing behind me whenever I turn around. I tilted my phone toward my buddy. Alan, look, I said. His blanket isn't as nice as yours. Alan froze. I had broken down over Julia so many times that he'd assumed this time would be another sleepless night of comforting me. He hadn't expected me to tease him instead. After a beat, he snorted with laughter. Of course it isn't. Don't you know whose it is? Chapter 5. Julia came back while I was eating a late-night meal. When she saw there was only one bowl of tomato and egg noodles, she paused. You didn't make any for me. I finished my last bite. If you're hungry, find something yourself. I gathered my dishes and brushed past her. She looked stunned. No matter how fierce our fights used to be, I always left her food, especially since this time, after the argument, she had actually come home. She stood there, displeasure written all over her face. I knew it well. She was waiting for me to coax her, but I put away the dishes and walked straight into the bedroom without even glancing at her. Can you stop making a scene? She grabbed my wrist. Logan has claustrophobia. If I went late, he would have had a breakdown. You're just mad that I left you alone on the road, right? That place isn't even that far from home. And you're 191 centimeters tall. Who could possibly mess with you? Logan clearly needed me more. I'm with him. You grew up together, helping him out. What's wrong with that? I finished the sentence for her. Julia choked on her words. I ignored her, went into the bedroom, lifted the blanket, lay down, and closed my eyes. Before long, waves of sleepiness washed over me. Half asleep, I felt someone press up against my back. Don't, I said. I caught Julia's hand at my waist. I don't want to. The person behind me stiffened, then hugged me even tighter. Hector, it's been so long since I really don't want to. I cut her off. Hector. She sat up abruptly. You used to beg me for this. We're about to get married. Why are you suddenly acting all restrained? I pinched the bridge of my nose. Julia, I'm exhausted. Don't do this. In that instant, the person behind me seemed to freeze, because those were the exact words she had used countless times to reject me. The room fell into a strange silence. I turned my head. Is there anything else? I waited quietly for her to continue. Calm, flat, even cold. These were things only she used to do whenever I was too drained to touch her because she had spent all her energy helping Logan deal with his endless problems, and I got jealous and made a fuss. She would look at me coldly. When I finally ran out of strength, she would ask indifferently, "Are you done? Anything else? If not, go to sleep." She would always sleep soundly, leaving me alone beside her until dawn. Then the next day, seeing the dark circles under my eyes, she'd smile and loop her arm through mine. Is this really worth it? So this was what it felt like to handle things her way. Hector. Julia took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly. Who did you learn to argue like this from? If I had to say, the answer could only be her. But that wasn't my intention. I'm not arguing. I'm genuinely tired. The woman who had always kept me firmly under her control suddenly found herself speechless. She nodded, smiling mockingly. Fine, do whatever you want. I'm going to find Logan. She really stood up, got dressed, and strode out. The door slammed shut with a deafening bang. I yawned, rolled over, and slept straight through until morning. Chapter 6. Julia didn't come home. For half a month straight, she didn't contact me at all. But unlike before, I didn't beg her friends to help me look for her. First, because I genuinely didn't want to. Second, because her WeChat moments started updating again. That moments page that used to show nothing but a single line suddenly turned into daily updates. Today it was a candlelight dinner with Logan. Tomorrow, a concert with Logan. The day after, an exhibition with Logan. Sometimes she would post several updates in a single day. Every single one involved Logan. Seeing how diligently she was curating her moments, I couldn't help but give her latest post a like. Strangely enough, after that, she never posted any more photos of outings with Logan. What? Did my like feel unlucky to her? She could have just blocked me. I didn't care much about that little episode and started hanging out with Alan every day instead. During those 6 years with Julia, every move I made, every emotion I had, revolved around her. It had been a long time since I'd relived my youth with Alan. At a dinner with a few old friends, I ran into Julia in the hallway outside a private room next door. When she saw me, the irritation in her eyes instantly brightened. Hector. She grabbed my hand. I knew you wouldn't forget my birthday. I froze. Your birthday. Her grip paused. You forgot. I didn't answer. She tightened her hold, irritation creeping into her voice. I posted it on my moments. Only then did I open my phone. Sure enough, after the post I had liked, she had shared another update about friends celebrating her birthday. Sorry, I said. I forgot. The hand gripping mine trembled slightly. For a brief moment, the corners of Julia's eyes seemed to redden. You never used to forget. The past. Memories flooded in. I nodded. Yeah. Oh, Hector's here. Logan's voice rang out. He leaned out of the private room, holding a glow stick, smiling casually. Here to grab a free meal. Julia's friends followed right behind him. Hector. Hector's here. I told you, Hector would never miss Julia's birthday. Ha ha ha. Chapter 7. It was rare for Julia to formally introduce me in a social setting where both Logan and I were present. She rarely brought me to meet friends. These people all belonged to Julia and Logan's social circle. But this time, she held my hand and took me around, toasting each friend one by one. Everyone said with knowing smiles. So Julia's finally settling down. Faced with what she usually considered an insulting tease, she surprisingly smiled and accepted it. What surprised me even more was the video playing on the screen in the private room. It showed every beautiful memory of us, from when we first met, to our engagement, to now. As photo after photo scrolled by, I forced a smile. If this video had been played half a month earlier, I probably would have cried from being moved. Throughout the entire video, Julia held my hand tightly. Then, as the video ended and some people were already wiping away tears, the knife for cutting the cake was placed into my hand. The atmosphere was perfect. Everyone cheered. Hector, cut the cake. I gently set the knife down. Sorry, I'm not here for this party. Julia froze. I looked at her. I came today out of respect for our 6 years together, just to wish you a happy birthday. I've got another gathering next door. You guys carry on. And with that, I really did turn around and walk away without looking back. Hector. A hand clamped tightly around my wrist, using almost all its strength, squeezing hard enough to hurt. Julia's eyes were rimmed red. You're really just going to leave like this? I was silent for a moment, then suddenly laughed. I turned back, casual and indifferent. What, without me? You can't even get through this birthday. Chapter 8. I used to be the one most enthusiastic about celebrating Julia's birthday. The first time we decided to get married, it was my proposal. We had been in love for 5 years then. I had already bought the engagement ring myself. I invited our mutual friends and asked them to wait at her place on her birthday, planning to give her a surprise when she came home. But that entire birthday passed, and she never showed up. When I called her, the sound of sea wind came through the phone, mixed with Logan's excited shouting from time to time. Her voice sounded tired. I'm watching the sea with Logan. What's up? Everyone's eyes landed squarely on me. I felt prickles on my back, my eyes burning as I clenched my fists. Julia, I prepared a birthday gift for you. She paused for a moment, then laughed casually. Oh, if you hadn't said anything, I would have forgotten. Logan hasn't had enough fun yet. We'll talk when I get back. Julia, I lost control for once. Shouldn't I be the one with you on your birthday? Everyone's watching. There was a brief silence on the other end. When she spoke again, her voice had turned cold. Did I ask you to prepare a birthday surprise for me? I froze. She continued. Hector, I'm just your girlfriend. I didn't sell myself to you. I don't have to tell you everything I do, including what I do on my birthday. This is my birthday. Whether I celebrate it, how I celebrate it, and who I celebrate it with has nothing to do with you. Who told you to get sentimental and arrange all this on your own? The call ended, the busy tone ringing in my ear. That night, I became a joke among our mutual friends. Now, looking at the anxious woman in front of me, I let out a soft laugh. This is your birthday. Whether you celebrate it, how you celebrate it, and who you celebrate it with, what does that have to do with me? Who asked you to get sentimental and prepare all this drama for me? The room fell completely silent. Then Logan slammed his glass down and rushed forward, blocking Julia protectively. If you don't want to wish her a happy birthday, then stop ruining the mood. There are plenty of people here. She doesn't need you. Don't think that just because you're a boyfriend you can do whatever you want. Julia and I. Logan. Julia suddenly shouted. Logan froze. Her voice sounded tired. Enough. It seemed she had remembered the past. I said nothing more and turned to leave the private room. Chapter 9. While the next-door private room was still lively, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Julia was sending messages. The temperature dropped again today. Did you bring something warm? I didn't reply. After a while, another message came in. Don't drink too much. You can't handle alcohol. If someone pressures you to drink, call me and I'll come over. Annoyed, I turned off notifications altogether. When our gathering finally ended and I was sitting in the car on the way back, I realized she had sent several more messages, asking when I was coming home, saying she was already outside waiting for me. I snapped a photo of the view outside the car window. Heading back. Don't worry about me. She replied almost instantly. Okay, message me when you arrive. I might get home a bit late. I knew why. Taking Logan home. Her standard routine. I didn't reply and closed my eyes to rest. I didn't question her like I used to, asking why she was coming home late. Later that night, I stayed at a hotel gaming with my buddies until midnight when my phone rang. I answered helplessly. You didn't come back? Julia asked. I replied. Out with Alan. What's wrong? There was a brief silence. Then her voice dropped. So now you don't even want to come home? The game had been interrupted. I frowned. I'm just out with my buddies. Is it really that interesting for you to interrogate me like this? The other end went quiet. Only then did I realize I had just taken on the role that used to belong to Julia. She was always the one who stayed out all night, and I was usually the one questioning why she wouldn't come home. Hector. Julia took a deep breath. When are you coming back? I'll come pick you up. No need. Then, it's cold. Did you bring warm clothes? Her words felt unusually excessive tonight. Didn't I survive just fine the day you dumped me out of the car? Her voice trembled slightly. I sighed. I've got things to do. I'm hanging up. And I really did hang up. That night, she never contacted me again. But the next morning, after saying goodbye to Alan, I discovered that her Porsche was parked downstairs. Chapter 10. I asked your friends. They said you were here. Julia was standing in front of the car, waiting for me. I paused. It had always been her who disappeared without a trace, while I ran around asking her friends where she was. This was probably the first time she had asked my friends about my whereabouts. After being out all night, I really did want to go home and catch up on sleep. Thanks. I ignored the hand she reached out, brushed past her shoulder, opened the back door myself, and got in. She turned around, surprised to see me sitting in the back seat. A trace of displeasure crept onto her brow. On the drive home, I could feel her gaze through the rearview mirror. Her slightly furrowed brows clearly showed her dissatisfaction. I kept my head down, playing on my phone, not looking up, nor did I, like before, take the initiative to ask why she was unhappy. The suit shop said your suit is still being made. She suddenly spoke. I froze. Her expression carried a hint of disdain. You were never serious about calling off the engagement anyway. Dial back the tantrum, or you might really ruin this wedding. I snapped back to reality. Oh, right. The clerk told me this morning it was ready. Let's pick it up and take it home. She was taken aback, but she still turned the car around and headed to the suit shop. Chapter 11. All the suits were made according to this gentleman's specifications. You'll definitely look great in it. The clerk handed the suit to me with a beaming smile and enthusiastically gestured toward the fitting room. No need. I'll try it on at home. Hearing that, the clerk pressed her lips together in a knowing smile. I get it. Going home to surprise your wife. Right. No problem. If anything needs adjusting, just bring it back. We do alterations for free. Julia curved her lips. Thank you. She took the suit from me as she spoke, looking at me with a touch of smug understanding. After 6 years together, I knew exactly what she was thinking. I'd thrown my little tantrum for so long, and in the end, hadn't I still arranged the suit? At bottom, it was just sulking to get attention, but the moment we opened the door, a familiar figure suddenly wrapped an arm around her. Julia. Logan. For the first time, Julia looked genuinely startled to see Logan appear in our home. In her plans, today was probably meant to belong to just the two of us. I'm the one who asked him to come, I said calmly, gesturing for Logan to follow me into the bedroom. Wait outside for a moment. Not long after, the bedroom door opened. The suit was on Logan's body, unmistakably handsome. Julia immediately stood up from the couch. Logan looked himself over, then turned to Julia. So, how is it? But Julia walked straight toward me. What is going on? I smiled lightly and straightened the decoration on Logan's chest. The previous suit was made to my measurements. It didn't fit him very well. This one was custom made just for him. See, isn't it much better? Shock flooded Julia's eyes. I, however, smiled leisurely. There's nothing more suitable for him than this. Let him marry you in it. Trust my taste. Hector. Julia's voice began to tremble. Even her hands shook as she raised them to grab my arm. You're joking with me. I blinked. Of course not. As I spoke, I took Logan's hand and placed it into hers, standing between the two of them, like a witness to their happiness. I smiled softly. You've been by each other's side for over 20 years. It's time for things to come to fruition. I wish you both a long, lasting future. Logan looked at Julia, his face slightly flushed, but she abruptly flung his hand away. Hector. Julia. Logan stared at her in disbelief, but she didn't spare him a glance. She grabbed my hand, her almond-shaped eyes reddening. Her grip hurt, yet her voice trembled even more. Don't do this. Don't joke like this. This isn't funny at all. Not even a little. I looked at her, took hold of her hands, slowly applied pressure, and pushed them away. Her hands froze in midair as she stared at me in shock. Julia, I said calmly. Since when did you become someone who can't take a joke? Chapter 12. She froze completely, as if she had finally remembered. The first engagement, Logan snatched my ring and put it on himself. The second wedding, Logan jokingly answered no for Julia. Every time I got angry, her accusations were always the same. Logan was just joking. He didn't mean anything by it. Why are you so incapable of taking a joke? Do you only feel happy if you make everyone else miserable? Julia's smile turned bitter. She slowly withdrew her hands. The woman who was always lively and bright now looked like a withered leaf. Clenching her teeth, she still lifted her head. Hector, let's stop this. Let's get married properly. I'll never joke with you again, okay? Too late. My tone was flat, neither sad nor angry, as if this mattered so little to me. She, however, became frantic. It's not too late, Hector. As long as you're willing, we can start over. We can. Her words suddenly stopped. She noticed the changes in the house. What about the notices you wrote? Julia's expression turned serious as she rummaged through the drawer where I used to keep documents. I turned and pulled out the suitcase I had packed long ago. Don't bother looking. They were mailed to our relatives and friends the day before yesterday. She turned around in disbelief. When she saw the packed suitcase, her pupils shrank abruptly. Where are you going? Jiangnan needs a director. I've already booked the flight. She shook her head in disbelief. Hector, you're lying to me. I shook my head. There's no reason for me to lie to you. Standing in the apartment we once planned to use as our marital home, I looked at her calmly. Didn't you notice? There's nothing of mine left here. She froze. Only then did she realize that the shoe cabinet, once always full, was now completely empty, except for the pair of boots she had given me, still lying there. Julia, take care of yourself from now on. Leaving behind that sincere blessing, I opened the door and walked out. Behind me came a heart-rending scream. Hector. Then Logan's frantic voice followed. Julia, don't go. Even if he leaves, I can stay with you. We're the ones who grew up together. Get out. Get the hell out. From upstairs came the sounds of things being smashed, and a woman crying. I thought I must have heard wrong. After all, it was already quite far away. Mishearing was normal. I got into a taxi and left the city. Chapter 13. City C hosted a new horse racing competition. When the spirited rider sprinted forward in a stunning finish, pulling far ahead of the rest, the entire crowd erupted into screams. When she removed her helmet, I, standing beside Alan and waving a small flag, froze. It was Julia. The host asked her what she wanted to do most at this very moment. She took out a ring and held it up for everyone to see. I hope the man I love will marry me. The crowd roared with cheers. Only I stared at the ring on the big screen and couldn't help curling my lips into a bitter smile. It was exactly the same ring I had bought back then. I had hidden it in a cake, planning to give her a surprise, but at that time, she was accompanying her childhood friend to watch the sea. She and I really were a perfect match. Even our taste was identical. When her finger pointed toward my seating area, the lights all swung over in unison. The camera zoomed in. There were only 2 empty seats left. Julia's smile froze on her face. The hand holding the ring slowly lowered. Chapter 14. On my way back, a car spun neatly into place and blocked my path. Julia got out. Her almond-shaped eyes were faintly red. Hector. I took a step back and smiled politely. MS. Julia. Hearing that unfamiliar form of address, her hand clenched uncontrollably. Do you not believe me? She walked toward me step by step. She still looked the same as she had 6 years ago, the woman who made me fall in love at first sight. Time had been kind to her, but that spark was gone forever. Believe what? I asked calmly. She grabbed my hand. The famous heiress of our social circle now looked like a pitiful, abandoned puppy. Hector, after you blocked me, I kept wanting to tell you, Logan and I are innocent. I never did anything with him. I know. I smiled lightly. I've always known. Julia wasn't someone who acted recklessly. She froze. Then why did you? I gently but firmly pushed her hand away. MS. Julia. Cheating doesn't only start when 2 people get into the same bed. Her breathing trembled. She opened her mouth, struggling to speak. I'm sorry, Hector. I really didn't mean to. I was serious about you from the beginning. Her voice broke. The fearless queen of the scene was sobbing uncontrollably. I spoke softly, still smiling. I know. You think you never wronged me, and that you truly liked me once. After all, someone as wild as you wouldn't agree to marriage without genuine feelings. I paused, my smile deepening, my tone gentle. But being together isn't just about whether you feel you did nothing wrong. Her eyes reddened. Julia, our fate has run its course. I'm doing well now, no resentment. No hatred. Headquarters is sending me overseas to take over as the top executive. This meeting may be our last. She looked up sharply, disbelief written all over her face. One last thing, let me give you some advice. The old me might have tolerated those behaviors, but another man might not. Treat the next one well. Don't let him end up as disappointed as I once was. I don't have the energy to look for another one. Julia's voice was hoarse. I simply smiled. Then wait. Take your time. With that, I brushed past her shoulder and walked away. On a sudden impulse, I turned back once. She stood at the other end of the alley, framed by the streetlight. The light was warm, yet it outlined nothing but loneliness and sorrow. I turned back around, neither sad nor glad. Chapter 15. During the years I worked overseas, a female racer fought her way onto the international stage. From time to time, I went to watch races and often saw her face. People in the scene said she competed in every race, fighting for first place every single time, all so that one person would see her. Her devoted fans flatly denied it. I remained neutral. Logan seemed to follow her everywhere, traveling north and south with her, but she never once looked at him directly. As a result, many of her fans accused Logan of harassment. A reporter once asked her whether the rumors were true. Was she really waiting for someone? She answered, yes. And what do you plan to do? The reporter asked. She paused. I'll spend my entire life waiting for him. When Alan saw the news, he asked me what I planned to do. I was gaming with him in Duo Q. Hearing that, I glanced at the report and replied calmly, whatever.